Hello guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at a Marksman's generator. Found this at the side of the road. Let's see if we can get this running. Stay tuned. So I was walking the dog and I went past someone's house and this was at the end of the road. There was a bunch of scrap, some broken. I think there was a lawnmower and a hoover or something, but this was there. This never happens. So I normally go out and buy these spares repairs. So to see one on the side of the road in my neighbourhood, I figured let's pick this up and see if we can get it running. So this is the capacitor. The capacitor was on the top, it was duct taped down, something like that. As soon as I seen the capacitor, the way it was all melted, basically these can dry up, they can become faulted, they can be basically overcharged and explode and overheat. So this is junk. Generally, possibly the generator's maybe started with something plugged in at a higher voltage and it's just fried it. Maybe the windings or the rotor is at fault and that could have caused this also. This is quite loose, but I'm not surprised because obviously this lives back here. So I think that will be the first thing to really check. But let's have a quick look at this. So it doesn't look in the best of conditions. It's probably been outside for quite some time. You can see the paint is all peeling off at the top. It's quite rusty. It's not the cleanest example, but it is completely free. I've not even checked actually for compression. We can check that in a second. The wiring looks a bit suspect here. If you can see, it's kind of looking a bit burnt, but that could be unrelated. Sockets seem okay, not damaged. Nice, this has a free pin. Normally you got to use the converter. Breaker is intact. Never use this feature. Let's have a look. Yeah, the fuse is okay. I guess you can charge batteries and run 12 volt applications from this. I've never actually personally used these. I don't know if many people do. But the switch to decide which one is the output. It looks to be all present. Fuel smells okay. Got ya. The fuel system looks to be okay at least. Let's get this back on top. Fuel gauge probably doesn't work. Nope, never do. So let's check for compression. Actually, I'll just check the air filter. Oh, very nice. Clean. Not soaked in oil. Oh, the carb looks quite nice as well. Actually, you know what? This actually might be. It might. Well, it looks quite rough. But so far, everything looks to be okay. So we need to check for compression. I guess we could probably check for spark. We have fuel obviously, and we've got air. Oil should be okay, I'll check that as well. And we need to check in the back of here. Fuel line is okay, so let's check for compression. Fuel is off. Seems really good. So let's get my little spark plug tool. We'll put that on there and we'll check for spark. This won't start. I'll be surprised if it does. But we'll turn it on and let's see if we get some spark. Looks pretty good. So we have fuel. We should have spark. Just check for oil. It's got spark and it has the sensor to detect whether it has oil, so it would not have sparked, but just to be on the safe side, it's almost right at the top of them threads. So I'll set you guys down, give it a couple of pulls and see if it runs. If it runs, I'll probably just go and order a new capacitor. We'll fit that and give it a go. I don't think it's going to be that easy. Can't imagine someone giving this generator away because of a £5 part, but we'll see. Let's give this a go. Let's see if we're getting fuel. We're leaking oil. There's a bit of oil down there. I don't know if that's always been there, but let's drain the fuel bowl. There could be some water in the bottom of the carburetor. Oh, it looks pretty good. Yeah, there's no water. So we're getting fuel, we're getting the air. I think we're not getting spark. So let's pull this plug and have a look. So I think we'll check this plug for spark. It's been a very, very long time since I've had a faulty spark plug, but it can happen. It's not cracked. It's not the best condition, mind. Looks a bit sooty. Let's see if we're getting spark. No, we're getting spark. So, bit overkill, but I've used the wire wheel, cleaned it up. The gap is a bit too close to my liking. These should be, well, this is like a Honda GX 120, maybe a 200, I'm guessing. It's a copy of a Honda. I would normally run these about 0.7 to 0.8 max, so I tend to go about 0.7, and then when they wear, obviously that 0.8 will become closer, but I'll do is a 0.7 and we'll give this a go. So let's just see what it was. Got 0.5, 0.6. Yes, it's 0.5. That's way too close. So let's just open it up a little bit. There we go. We're at 0.7. So that should be fine. It's nice and clean. So let's get that put back in and give that a go. Yeah, I do have a spare one, so you can actually see the number on that. It's a BP R6ES, which is what you need. This is a BP 6ES. The BP 6ES will be okay. The R is probably better. It's got a resistor in there, but this is what came with the generator, so let's give this a go. We'll put this back on and see if it works. Right, so I'm just going to check for spark, see if it's any brighter. Oh yeah, look at that. You guys probably can't see it. It's a lot healthier spark. But we did have a spark in the first place, so just to help us on a bit, got a bit of brake cleaner. I could put it straight down the hole, but we'll try first without the brake cleaner and just see what we get. Plug's back in, choke is on. Let's give it a go. So we're still not getting any fire, so it's probably a fuel issue. Let's remove this air filter again. And yeah, so the choke is working fine. Let's get some brake clean. I'll put some brake clean down there and we'll give it a go again. seeing there was a typical situation where you're getting no fuel. So the fuel is getting to the carb, but the carb is gummed up. Now, you can remove the ball on the carb, and you can remove, well, you can get half of the carb out that way. But I'm going to actually pull a full carb, just to check it all out, make sure there's nothing else in there. So firstly, turn off the fuel supply, get rid of all these bolts. 10mm. There'll be the breather to remove out the top. And the carb will now just pull off. That's it. There we go. Remove the linkages. This is the clip that goes over, stop it from coming off. Wasn't actually even attached on there, oddly enough. It's actually loose. You can tighten that down. So just pull these off. Just a metal clip. Yourself a ball. And that is the carb. So let's just give this a quick clean. Now I do have an ultrasonic cleaner, but I think for this carb we don't need it because it does actually run with a choke. So I think it just needs a slight clean on the inside. So I'll just get a brush and get the thick of this off, and then we can strip the carb down. There it goes. So I know I cleaned it off with a brush and used the fuel that we drained. That really doesn't do anything, it's just a cosmetic thing. So the issue itself is inside the carb, but it is nice to have the carb looking fairly decent. I do have an ultrasonic cleaner. I tend to use the ultrasonic when we have big issues, but this is running just on choke, so it probably needs a little clean. So let's get this. See, it's pretty darn clean. I wouldn't even class that as being dirty. To be fair, it's a tiny amount in the bottom. Let's get the jet out, because this will be the issue. What you'll find is one or two of these little holes will be blocked. If we clear the holes, we should be good to go. I will give this a clean with some carb cleaner inside as well. Just yeah, it's that is a bit gummed up. I can see light, but just a bit. And oh yeah, there. So them three and that one is full of debris. So I do actually have a proper tool for this, but I can't find it, so we'll go the old-fashioned way. In fact, I'll show you guys. When you spread this through, it's only coming out the two top ones. I think that's actually cleared it, but we'll just go through with this brush each hole, make sure they're clear. Basically what happens is you get a bit of debris in the bottom of the the bowl, as you guys seen, there was a tiny amount on the bottom, and it just gets sucked up basically, and it just blocks these passages, and you need a nice even spray from all these holes, and if a couple are blocked up it just doesn't run right. So give these a clean. It's normally the little ones at the bottom that get full. Obviously the smaller hole the more chance it has to, yeah, so that has actually got a bit of corrosion inside that one. I can't actually get, there we go, yeah, so there's a bit of white dust on the other side, maybe a bit of moisture from the bottom of the fuel bowl, but that one was completely blocked. So all I tend to do is just run this bit of what, that one's blocked as well. It's sticking through, but it's not. See, it came through the other end. There we go. Yeah, that one's okay. There we go. I normally put my tool through there, but that's actually really clear. I can see straight through. Just give the bottom one a bit of a clean, and that is it. This'll do. I can't get the carb cleaner, it's behind us, tucked away, so we'll just put some in the bottom, hold the top, wear safety glasses, I'll do your safety squints, and pull the trigger. As you can see, they're all firing. Give that a bit of a clean. That will just evaporate. Give a bit of a scrub. You can use an air compressor on this, which I do have. I've did this quite a lot on the channel, so I don't really want to go into too much detail, but you just put it in, and then that was a quarter, 1, 2. So you have to remove this bump stop, and then just pull it out. Looks pretty clean. So if this isn't gummed up, you'll probably find this is the reason to why you're not getting any idle or even any ignition at all. That's running out nice and clean. And this one is normally a bit tough, but if you just force it through, same thing, go to the bottom. It does appear to be blocked. There we go. So you probably can't see it, but the needle, the bit of brush, the wire has actually went through the bottom, and you can see it through the hole. No, you probably can't see that, but that is good. Give it a quick clean. Wow, see the difference? See how it's squirting out, top and bottom, like that. So that was the issue. So good thing we checked that. That was definitely the reason why it wasn't idling. So we just put this back, and then get the idle adjustment nut, bolt. It's like a bump stop, so the generator has a governor, and that adjusts the idle to suit. But if you have this, for example, all the way in, like this, it'll go too low. So you just want to make sure there's a bit sticking out, just so it can hit that. If it's struggling to idle, you can put this further in. It gives a bit more Bit more fuel, but that should be fine. We can adjust that if needed. And this quite simply just slots back in there. It looks nice and clean. And you drop that in, and then tighten this down. Just going to make sure the flow is working. So this is your fuel inlet. So if you blow it, it's letting fuel in. When the float goes up, so that's okay. The gasket is already in. So we can just put this back together. This is your drain. You're supposed to drain the fuel out once you're not using it, once it's in storage. But people don't tend to do that. On the engine it will be like that, so you want your drain accessible. I like to have the drain on the back side of the generator, so we'll put it about there. We can change it if needs be, but that should be fine. Right, let's get this back together. So make sure your gasket is intact, which it is. I didn't pull it off. You can pull this off, but you tend to find it'll rip, so I just left it in place. Let's clean these off a bit. Get that half on. Just hook that on the top. And this one, if you position it when it's half off, like so, and push it in, when you push the carb back, locks it in place. You want to put your gasket back on the front. It's important that you put the right way around. You have to make sure that hole is clear. Just slides on the back. And then recover the connection with that clip. This one, the top wasn't even on. There we go. So we've got fuel. The breather is back in. Put this cover back on. This is important because this needs to be at the bottom. Don't put this the other way around. Don't know if it will fit actually. Oh no, it doesn't. On some it does, but this one it doesn't. And these are just 8mm. Actually, I forgot about the lever for the choke. That you can just slot on the top, like so. Put the air filter back in to make sure the choke is operating correctly. Right, so just turn the fuel back on, like so. Check for leaks, so this will be filling up. And we have nothing, so fresh carb. I would say it's rebuilt. It'll do the job. I'm sure it'll be okay now, so let's give this a couple of pulls and see if it works. Ignition on, fuel on, choke on. So simple as that really, just a dirty carb and dirty spark plug. Probably need to check that out. Looks okay. If the wiring wasn't okay, that wouldn't actually run. It could be off a previous issue, but it seems to run perfectly fine. Powered off and you kill the spark, which is good. Next up, let's pull this back end off and see what's going on inside. So this is your capacitor. This would have lived in there like so. Just checking the windings. Now these are normally difficult to diagnose if they are completely shot. The colouring looks good. It's all uniformed. This colour here. The string is intact. It hasn't melted or ripped. So the windings look okay. And the rotor, the stator, yeah, I would say that looks okay. I might get the multimeter and just do a few basic tests, but I think if we get a new capacitor, we should be good. Okay, so it's been it's been about 5-6 months, so it's been some time. I can't remember exactly what we did, but I did order a capacitor. This is a capacitor that came with the generator. I remember that was obviously damaged. The capacitor that I got did not have the right fitting. It came with this connection, which is the reverse. So it should have came with this one, but this capacitor came with this one, which is this one here. Probably because the capacitor isn't the exact model. So this is a 24 UF, and this one I took off, if this even is the original one or the one that came with the machine. I'm guessing it did. This is a 25, so it's slightly smaller, but that shouldn't make a difference with the fitting, but for some reason it did. Basically, you can put a small tool in either side, pull them out. I literally just disconnected the clips at the end from that one, reconnected them to this one, and then that will clip in there and it will be like factory, so that will be okay. I need some bolts for this, so I've got a selection here, so I'll find the bolts, get that fitted and get back to you guys. So it's quite lucky I found these. These are actually from generators, along with these ones here. I've got quite a few. These ones normally, on this one they don't go, but generally these ones go in the front and in here, and these smaller ones normally hold internal parts. So you can see there's a small one there, there's a small one there, so these will match perfectly. They're a bit long. So the end plate, the screws that will hold that on are shorter, so I think we can probably use these ones for the end plate, and we'll try these ones in here. Yeah, it's better. I only use a screwdriver type system for this because, well, this is just thin plastic and it is aluminium, and you're not fixing anything too tight, you just want a hand tight. If you use a ratchet or an impact especially, you could do some damage, and that is perfect. I'll probably come back and put a cable tie around this just to keep it all tidy. It's not going to go anywhere, to be fair, but for now just put this cover back on. Yeah, that's much better. The screws, I think this wasn't even on properly, if I remember right. I think they were the wrong setup for it. But these are much better. So make sure the vents are facing down so water doesn't get in, and also this grommet, make sure that's in place. And that, guys, is it. So I probably will test this earth strap before I use any appliances in this. Just make sure that basically the earth pin is making contact with this and the frame. It has fuel, I believe. I'm pretty sure we had this running. I've worked on quite a lot of stuff over the last several months, so I'm a bit lost off with this. I remember the capacitor needed replacing, and I just left it at the back here out of the way, and I've just kind of like ignored it, forgot about it. I think I'll take that off, because that will just rattle and irritate me. So yeah, if the engine needed any parts, I would have ordered them, but I'm guessing it was okay. So I guess the next step will be to fire it up, choke, fuel on, give that a few minutes for the carb to fill up because it'll be bone dry. I normally run these empty, so when I'm running the engine I will turn off the fuel and let the engine just basically cut out on its own accord. Then you know you're not going to have any nasty fuel on the bottom. I don't know if we need to rebuild that carb. I can't remember taking it off. It might need taking off. So we'll start the engine, get the choke off, and I'll come over, flip the breaker on, and then we'll choose 230, 240, and I will use this to find out how much voltage is actually coming out. Right, so let's see how many times I have to pull this to get this to start. So that should have started by now. So, took the fuel bowl off, and it's pretty grim. Now, I would have thought I might have cleaned this out last time, because there's no way I cleaned this out and it got that bad that quick. Surprised how bad that was. So if that's in the bottom of there, it means the carb is probably gummed up, which is why it's not running. I think if I can get this running briefly and see it's producing power, I might have to pull the carb off and give it a proper clean. This is looking better, so I'll continue to clean this up, put a bit of carb cleaner in, put this back on, and we'll give it another go. So there you go guys, running perfectly fine. So the next step will be to do an oil change. The spark plug, I've either replaced that or checked it, I'm assuming. The carb ran fine. Once we got fuel to it, I think that was just maybe too gummed up. Maybe some debris did get passed through. It's gone now. I had this run for probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Ran perfect. The fuel is very low. It's pretty much at the bottom, so it needs an oil change. Half a tank of fuel, and then it's ready for use. I will check this with my multimeter, but when I put this to 110, the dial is moving on the voltmeter, so I believe that will be okay, but I will double check that. But next is oil change, and then we should be good to go. Let's see how tight this is going to be. It's a 10mm pretty standard. It's perfectly fine. Sometimes they're way too tight. Oh, it's pretty dark. You fill up the same place as the dipstick tube. I have a bigger one of these, but I'll see if this one will work. Bit of a slight colour difference. So what I'll do is I fill this up until you can see it just starting to come to the top. And what will happen, in fact actually that's pretty close. So it's not far off actually. So you fill it, if you can see, just to the fluid gets to the top. In fact actually there you go. So you fill it full of oil until the oil gets to this part of the crankcase. So once it's up to that level, you're done. So that's the oil, pretty darn nasty. It's probably been there for many years, probably from new, wouldn't surprise me. So yeah, that's out. Got fresh oil. The plug should be clean. I think I cleaned it last time. The carb, I'm sure I took that off and cleaned it. I did something to it. It's running great. It's running very nice and quiet. It's not hunting, it's not misfiring, it's very smooth, quite quiet, and it's giving out the right voltage. So that, guys, is it. Get that tape off. That's good quality tape. Right, so off camera I'll probably go, not today, it's getting on a bit, it's nearly 8 o'clock. I'll fill this up halfway with fuel and put it to use. I've got something I need to use this on at the weekend, so while I'm out there I might even give it a pressure wash. I'll just give it a spray down with some degreaser, quick light pressure wash. Don't get around these, kind of, you know, just round the engine and the tank. Don't obviously go around the cap. I wouldn't trust the gaskets, especially these gaskets are terrible. If you guys have had these generators before and you put plenty of fuel in and you slosh this around the back of your car or truck or van, wherever you got, it will leak from there. This one will leak, I can guarantee it. They don't last very long at all. But yeah, I'll just put some fuel in so I can use it. I'll use it for a good hour or two and then probably get rid of it because I don't need it. I do have my good one under there. That one's actually on the channel. Yeah, that one's on the channel. This was completely free, didn't pay a penny. All I purchased was the replacement capacitor, which I'll put a link in the description of the one I bought off Amazon. It was cheap, it was like £4 or £5, not much at all. And yeah, all running. It even had fuel. The fuel that we've used is not fuel I put in. How much have we got? Not much. So, thank you guys for watching. Like always, please like, subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next one.